Absolutely. Can you hear me?
Yes,
yeah?
loud and clear. Thank you.
Well, first, it's a real honor that I was invited to give this talk. I'm Gabriel, CEO of Pascual Innoventures, which is the CVC corporate venture capital unit of Pascual. When preparing the presentation, I was like, I'm not going to school anyone on trends, on the future of the food system. So I'm just basically going to speak to the specific challenges that a company like Pascual has when it comes to driving innovation. So Pascual, for those of you that don't know, just a little bit of context, it's a food and beverage company, mostly Spanish. 95% of our revenues are based in Spain. We do export to 50 countries, but it's mostly a Spanish company. 850 million in revenue, which means that we're a large corporation in Spain, but an SMB on the global scale, okay? And I like to think of Pascual as basically three companies. One is the production company, manufacturing company. We have 11 plants in 3 different countries. It's a consumer company. We have many different brands spanning different categories, mostly dairy, water, plant-based drinks, egg, coffee, and juices. And another distribution company, which is which we serve directly 110,000 clients, and we have over, I think, 1,300 products in our portfolio. And they all have their own unique challenges, which I'll speak to. So specific challenges that we as a corporation face that drive innovation, but also stifle innovation. Because, you know, within our industry, the R&D investment is, amongst the big companies even, it's around 1% of revenues. If you look at software, it's north of 10%. If you look at pharma, it's north of 10%. So there's a clear problem there, systemic problem. And for me, it all boils down, as I think Roberto mentioned, to the economic incentives and the model, okay, that we have as a society. It promotes short-termism, and there's always the tension between financial sustainability and the long-term sustainability of the planet, for example. So specific challenges. One, which is specific to Spain, it's the distribution retailer model. I don't know if you know, but we amongst Europe, we have the biggest price gap between the private label and brands like us. So that means that margins for us are low. It's a low margin, commoditized products. Innovation is difficult to introduce in supermarkets, and it's very difficult to test innovation. So it really does not incentivize innovation. It's a system that it doesn't incentivize innovation. And most of the innovation, we do it. It's not the retailer that pushes innovation. There's the valuation of sustainability by consumers. It's been talked about. It's a must, but in our experience, consumers don't pay premium. So it's mostly, you know, you feel there's a belief that if you don't do it, you will get penalized, but our experience is that consumers don't pay that premium. So there's always internally amongst the executives in the board, should we do sustainability, shouldn't we do? And there's a trade-off, financial trade-off. The CFO says, don't do it. and unfortunately, we're a family company, and the family is you know, values-based and long-term based, and says we have to do it, even if there's an economic trade-off. Then there's global geopolitical instability in general, food prices, energy prices, and I'd say, one was saying real prices haven't, are decreasing. That was surprising to me, but it's more to do with the unpredictability, I think. If we could predict better and have more stability, especially now, lately, last couple of years, we would be much better off because you can, there's de-risking mechanisms. And then there's consumer complexity. When we started 30 years ago, say, you had one channel to reach the consumer. Now the channels to reach the consumer have, are much more diversified and complex. The attention span is low, and the competition for those moments is very low. But basically, segmentation, what means is more manufacturing complexity, less efficiency, less profitability, less innovation. The current logistical distribution systems are not designed to attend this consumer segmentation efficiently, because we can attend to it, but it's not profitable to do so, as you can see by the numbers of Global and other last mile delivery companies. And the segment, and consumers are now very diverse. We're in a segment, we're in a sector very interested in, we work in personalized nutrition, and I'll talk more about nutrition, but it's, nutrition is very specific, and I always say, I put the analogy, the internet disrupted the advertising and the content. We all saw the same content, technology came, and now we see personalized advertising and personalized content. Something analogous has to happen with the distribution for me to really obtain my personalized nutrition. But that will be slow, because it's not digital, it's physical, so it will be slow. And there's also education, especially within nutrition. I think this complexity of channels has introduced a lot of confusion to the consumer, and it's always a little bit of this trend, this trend, this trend. I think there's a work that needs to be done in terms of educating what is the truth in nutrition. What is truth? Well, truth is my truth, and your truth might be different. So we need to work on that. And there's another key challenge, which is urbanization. Again, sustainable and profitable models there. Consumers are not going to stop demanding personalized and D2C models. So we need to figure out profitable ways of serving. And the rural ecosystem, okay? Farmers, there's no succession. We're living it. Farms are closing every year in Spain at an increasing rate. And so there's no young innovation. No young leaders that, bring in new ideas, have that push, have that drive. And that means that probably we will have to globalize our productions, our sources, and that means more emission, for example, right? And there's another challenge, which is how do I measure the ROI of sustainability and innovation? You'd be surprised how even large companies don't have a very good way of measuring innovation, the effect of innovation in the business, and also sustainability. It's even harder. So basically, we have the challenge of how, now that we're bigger, we're more mature markets, our capacity to innovate has lessened. What do we do? How do we solve it? We created Pascual Innoventures, which allows long-termism to prosper within and future-proof the business. We separated it. It's a sister company to Pascual. That means independent financing and long-term financing. And within the investment thesis, we said financial gains are secondary. The strategic gains are primary, okay? Obviously, we need to make money, but the trade-off is clear, okay? And it seems like disruption might actually finally be coming to food, too. More slowly, like I said, but you've got alternative proteins, biosynthetic proteins, which we're investing a lot in. And it's very interesting time in food. So the capacities that we had there were very, very low. We needed to learn. So the way we decided that we needed to learn was to create an incubation program. And the main objective was to learn and start having skin in the game too, which I think is important by investing. We created companies to monetize technology that we had. For example, we talked a lot about incentives, where we created a company that generates carbon credits from extending sustainability projects to more farms. So that's a way of incentivizing that. It just doesn't occur in our farms, but it includes, it expands to other farms. So carbon credits work with that respect. We also were very, very focused on circularity. So we created another company that takes the eggshell membrane, which is very rich in collagen, in different proteins, and that is sold as an ingredient to the nutraceutical industry, for example. We also launched a beer, which is made from surplus bread, and we also launched a company dealing in precision nutrition. And our vision there is to scale the knowledge that we had already in our R&D department of the food's impact on the gut microbiome, but also dealing with education, change of habits. And for me, the most important thing there is how do you, me, tangibilize the impact of that solution? And you do that with biomarkers. So I think that's a big trend also to come. How do I quantify the impact of nutrition? And yeah, so just to wrap up, I think these vehicles, the ones that, for example, we created, are key to implementation in different countries. If you think about the Nestle's, the Unilevers, all have these. But companies of our range that are specific to countries and are key to the implementation of innovation in countries, in local countries, don't have so much. They typically do open innovation, which doesn't serve so effectively in terms of disruptive innovation. It does innovation, to me, quite ineffectively, but it doesn't really deal with disruptive innovation sometimes. And just to wrap up, I think also the fact that we're a family company, 100% family company, helps a lot with that, because it's a long-term view versus the short-term view that some publicly listed might have, which is a 3-month cycle almost. So I think, I'll wrap up with that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, no, just one thing.
One thing.
One thing. And I look to Roberto, to you. Financial products have to evolve. Regulators have to allow and provide corporations with also clear expectations. For us, the expectations is what's important. And long-term maps that we can have in advance to anticipate well and know where we have to innovate. Because it typically comes with 1 year. Now you have to reduce sugar, and we're all doing a lot of ineffective innovation with that respect. That's it.
Thank you.